Welcome back. Special education, it's a hugely important of parents and children interviewing area. Unfortunately, many kids, they're not getting the attention they so desperately need. Our Dominic Carter, he takes us inside to take a look at the system and some who are being left behind.
Brooklyn, Nostrand Avenue, folks out and about, some shopping. At first glance a few blocks away, one would never know this hotel on Atlantic Avenue is a homeless shelter. We are about to introduce you to a mother and her special needs child. Special education around the country is a convoluted process where many parents turn to litigation, arguing because no adequate placement exists for their child in the public system, the school district must pay tuition at a private school. Is the special education system broken?
A lot of it is.
Maggie Moroff is the special education policy coordinator for Advocates for Children. Parents come here when they don't know where else to turn. The moment you walk through the door, there is a little play area for the kids. Moroff says for every case Advocates for Children takes on, there are probably 100 parents waiting in line. The New York Times recently did a piece about a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old they called TJ, reading on a first grade level. How in the world could that happen?
Right. So TJ was one of our clients. When students with disabilities, and those disabilities can be varied, when they have special education needs that aren't appropriately met or aren't appropriately identified early enough on, and the students don't get all of the appropriate supports and services that they need, the disability catches up with them basically, and they fall further and further behind as they get older.
High five? Can you high five? The moment you meet Elijah, this young man's demeanor stands out. Elijah is 14 years old, but has fallen behind in school. He's only in the 5th grade and reads on a first grade level. Elijah and his mom, Audrey Martinez, have been living in New York City shelters for the last 2.5 years. In a million years, did you ever think you'd find yourself in this situation?
Never.
All of their possessions are in this one cramped room. There is no way for them to heat up food unless they go to the hotel office, and there is no refrigerator. Perishables are stored in a little cooler. When we walked in, Elijah was doing what kids do these days, locked on his video game.
As a parent that has a child with special needs, never give up. Always struggle, find resources.
Elijah has severe learning disabilities, a language disorder, and ADHD. The steps in the special education process is first, testing the student to pinpoint if there is a learning disability. School districts then come up for the child with what's called an individualized education program, better known as an IEP, a written legal document. But services at times still don't materialize.
The process was very difficult and it's been long. I got him evaluated in school and outside of school, privately. His classification was changed many times, but his services remained the same. Basically, Elijah was standstill, no progress.
Has it been tough?
Very frustrating. It's been tough. It's been 2.5 long years, or maybe more.
It was only after Advocates for Children started working with Martinez just last year that the organization pushed for an outside, independent, special ed evaluation of her son Elijah. There are 210,000 students classified with a disability in the New York City public schools. The spectrum of disability is wide.
Under federal law, there are 13 different disability classifications. They can have autism, they can have a learning disability, they can have emotional and behavioral needs, they can be vision impaired. There's a big range, and then even within each of those, there's a range in terms of the supports and services they need.
But there's also the problem of the bureaucracy. A computer system specifically to keep track and make sure the students receive services they are supposed to has cost the city of New York at least $130 million and has been riddled with technical glitches and systematic problems since it was instituted in 2011.
Is the city able to keep track of kids with disabilities?
So they're working on it. They have a system for tracking. They know who gets special education supports and services, but they are having a very hard time tracking whether or not they're getting all of the supports and services they're supposed to get under their IEPs. It's a complex, complicated, and big system.
What's your favorite subject?
Art,
Art. Why do you like art?
because I like to draw.
You like to draw?
Yeah.
Do you have a second favorite subject?
Well, PE.
Okay, Jem.
Yeah.
What do you want to do when you get a little older?
I want to go to Army.
You want to go to the military and serve our country? Wow, wow. So you like school?
Yeah.
There are stories that touch the heart, and this is one of them. Elijah and his mom will no longer be homeless. After 2.5 years of living in a shelter, this week Audrey Martinez is moving to her own apartment, a place they can now call home in the Inwood section of Manhattan. But the good news doesn't stop there. Education officials have determined Elijah has not received the adequate services in the New York public school system, and he will finally get the help he needs. The city of New York is placing Elijah in a private school and paying for it.
So now I'm finally moving to my own apartment next week, and Elijah will be placed in his new school eventually in about a week or so, maybe by the end of the month.
Thank you very much, Dom. Coming up next, a deadly virus that's killed 7 children at a long-term care facility in New Jersey. We've got the very latest on whether it's contained and the controversy over the way the state has handled it.